can probably do this all off the top of my head, I have been practicing, but I want to refer to notes because I don't want to miss out on anything, okay? Now, as serendipity has it, this morning, something really nice happened to me, but it happens to me often. I got this email. You know, the other day we did some training, and I was talking about doing invites and doing follow-ups and doing all that stuff. I do my inviting differently. I get people to, I'm not the hunter, I don't go out hunting for prospects, I get them to hunt me, I'm the prey, okay? So I woke up this morning and I thought I'd check my emails, and I got this quite long, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 page email from a guy in Illinois. I'll just read you the last paragraph. So Nick, if you choose to show me your system and teach me what the 7 skills required are, I not only promise you to pay it forward, I promise the Lord, in brackets, and you are my witness to this promise, to pay it forward. Is that good enough for you? So it's like, that's the 4th this week, is actually approaching me and asking me, like not begging, but really asking me, please, can I be your prospect? Isn't that a much better way of doing things?
Wow.
Yes.
That's all from copywriting. I want to show you how I'm doing this, exactly. You're going to walk away to know how to do this today. So what's happened to me this week? And I'm not trying right now, I'm not in sponsoring mode right now, I'm going to go into sponsoring mode for Monday. Okay? This week I've sponsored 3 people. One was Walmart, and he's just sat at the door outside. A young guy called Chris. But I've sponsored 2 from copywriting, and this will probably be a 3rd. So I sponsored one 3 days ago, one 2 days ago, one yesterday. The 2 that I sponsored in the last couple of days was a lady in America. Again, she approached me from copywriting. She was very, very excited. On our first conversation, she signed up on the spot. On our first conversation.
Wow.
She already knew me, you understand? So my conversation to her was just getting to know her. I don't even think I mentioned this. I said, you ready to get your training started? She goes, yes, Nick, I'm really excited. And I just signed her up. Copywriting. And it happened to me again yesterday, a lady in the UK. And so this one in a couple of days will sign up. So my young guy Chris outside has only been in business 3 days. He's already got an international business. 1 person in America, 1 person in the UK in his downline, and probably a 3rd in the next few days. All from copywriting. Isn't that a better way of doing things? Yeah. So let me refer to my notes because I've got this very, very structured and I don't want to miss out on anything. I normally don't like using notes, but it's very important that I put all this in. Okay. So first of all, I want to congratulate you for coming. You guys are Sydney's leaders for coming. So I really want to congratulate you. So give yourselves a round of applause. And also I want to thank you because only Jeff knows that this has been one of my secret ambitions to get this material together to teach it. And it's been in my mind for many years and I've never taught it before. So this is the first time I'm teaching this material. So you're also helping me fulfill tick off one of the things off my bucket list. Okay? So I want to thank you as well. So as you know, I started off with very, very humble beginnings. My parents, all their lives, worked 7 days a week, and they're still working hard to this day. And we were pretty tight. You know, my mum drilled into my head over and over and over and over again. What's the magic word? Now in Greek, she said in Greek, ekonomia. What's the translation? Be tight. Be a tight ass. Basically. Not there, but be tight. What's the magic word? Ekonomia. It's like be tight with your money. That's what got drilled into my head growing up. And like I didn't really like that philosophy. It's like instead of being tight, why don't I just learn to earn more money? Isn't that a better way of doing things? So as Donald Trump says, if you're going to be thinking, you're going to be thinking anyway. You might as well think big, hey? Isn't that okay? Okay. So I want to take you back. Today's in 3 parts. The first part is some background, some history. It's very important that we start off on that because if you don't understand the history of copywriting, the rest won't fall in place. And then we're going to go into some advanced techniques, and then we're going to go into some ultra advanced techniques. And I promise you, you're all going to walk away today. You're probably all novice copywriters at best right now. You're going to walk away minimum highly competent, bordering masterful in the next before 12 o'clock. That's my aim today for you guys. Okay. So I'm going to take you back to my martial art days. I was a very competitive martial artist when I was a teenager. I was going every single day. I was going every single night and twice on Saturdays. Had a lot of tournaments, a lot of point tournaments, semi-contact and full contact tournaments. I was doing a lot of them. And I realised a pattern. All on my own I realised a pattern. I realised I won a lot of competitions and I lost some, right? Obviously I lost some as well. And I realised, Pete, that I won every single fight, or I lost every single fight, before I entered the ring. I realised that after like a year or two of doing martial arts. My mindset of walking in was everything. It was irrelevant how good the other guy was. It was just my mindset walking in. And then I started turning that to my advantage. And I remember one particular day I was doing it was a semi-contact. Semi-contact is you've got to hit them really, really hard, knock them down, but you stop. You don't keep going, because when you keep going, it gets messy, it's not fun. So it's one really clean hit, you take the wind out of them and you get a point, 3 points, and you win that round. Does that make sense? Yep. Like what you saw in Karate Kid sort of thing. And one day, it was this really, really tall bloke, and he was very good. And we got in there, and I hit him, and he sort of buckles over, and I got a point. And I start again, and I kicked him or something. Oh, it was 2-0. And then he called, or his coach called time. And my mind struck said to me something in my ear. He goes, "Nick, you do realise who that is, don't you?" I go, "No." He goes, that's the state high teacher of karate, because I did taekwondo. State high, when it was mixed martial arts. That's a state teacher. He's really, really good." And my teacher freaked me out. So I was up 2-0. And I walked back in, and then he got 3 points in a row. And I lost. So that's all up here, right? So why am I telling you that? The great military genius in ancient China, Sun Tzu, he says the war is won or lost before the battle is engaged. And the same in your Yasana business. You're a diamond director before you even begin. And your copywriting is going to be successful, your ads are going to be successful before you even put pen to paper. It all starts with your intention. So what I want you to do first and foremost is have the intention for the best and nothing but the best. The best doesn't have to be reserved for other people. If I can achieve these things and earn $1 million club and be retired and do all these wonderful things, you can do it. There's no reason why God favours me over you. These laws I'm about to show you, they're like electricity, they're like the law of gravity. It doesn't matter if I jump off a building or if you jump off a building with you, we're going to get down. If you apply what I'm about to show you, they're going to work regardless of who you are. So just have faith that they're going to work. Okay? And there's a great, because I'm a fan of philosophy, in Greek origin of course, and Vince Lombardi, has anyone heard of Vince Lombardi?
Gridiron coach?
Yeah, great attitude. I like his attitude. He said winning is not a sometimes thing, winning is an all-time thing. You don't win once in a while, you don't do things right once in a while, you do them right all the time. Winning is a habit, and unfortunately so is losing. They're both habits. And he actually borrowed that from Aristotle. So what I want you to do is I want you to start forming winning habits. I want to get you into the mode so you can form winning habits. So I want you to think bigger, I want you to think faster, I want you to think better, more effectively, with more faith and enthusiasm, okay? So I'm going to just touch base on just the principle of Kaizen. It's really, really important. Because even though today your skills are going to definitely increase, learning doesn't stop. And I want you to have the goal of just getting 2% better a week. Do you think you can get 2% better a week at your skills, at your Yasana skills, at copywriting? You think you can do that? Put your hands up if you think you can do that. Not a lot. In 1 year, you're just going to go by anyways. That means you're going to be 100% more effective. Okay, so just 2% a week. So I just aim to get a little bit better every single week. I still aim to do that. And today what I'm going to show you, there's a greater principle, I'm sure you've all heard of the 80-20 rule, you've all heard that. I want to show you the top 20% core copywriting skills that get 80% of the results. There's not enough time to go through everything, but I'm just going to show you the really important stuff today, okay? So network marketing, 2 words. Network, the word work is in there, and marketing. And the thing is, most people don't understand what marketing is. If I ask you all for a definition of marketing, you're all going to give you probably a different definition, and you should have a definition that really serves you. So who wants to show me a definition of marketing? Everyone's chicken? No one? I like to think of marketing as, this is a really nice way to put it, as we're alchemists for desire. Okay? You know what alchemy is? Alchemy is turning something, the base metal that's not precious, into gold, into something precious. So we're alchemists of desire. So we find what people's desires are, and we show them how to make that reality. Okay, so I really like that term, marketing, alchemy of desire. Alchemy, yeah. So basically, we show people how to turn their dreams into reality. Okay.
Word alchemist.
Yes, correct. So when you focus on understanding people's desires and show them how to turn that into reality, that's the most rewarding marketing of all. And the ancient Greeks and the ancient Eastern Zen masters, they used to say, if you're going to hit a target, you've got to know what the target looks like first of all. So before I even begin copywriting, I've got to show you what it looks like. So we're going to start with a bit of history. It was May 1904, bit of copywriting history. May 1904, a very famous meeting took place. It was the birth of modern advertising. There was a man called Albert Lasker. And Albert Lasker was the son of a very wealthy German immigrant. And he went to America, and he could have had any career he chose. He chose to go into journalism. He became a journalist. He became a journalist. But he took a liking to advertising, to copywriting. He took a liking to it. Hey. And he actually he actually started at the bottom of an advertising agency, and within 2 years, because of his dedication and his personal magnetism and his personal sales skills and his work ethic, he actually went right to the top of that company. He actually became the 2IC of that company within 2 years. He started from nothing. And he actually searched the country for what good advertising is and for what good copywriting is. And this is over 100 years ago. He couldn't find an answer because what he was seeing is good advertising was making his clients wealthy. But many times the advertising was not working. And no one knew back then. No one knew what constituted to good advertising, what made bad advertising. No one could sort of tell the difference. So he went on a search. And eventually a man called, hey Brian, a man called Johnny Kennedy. Johnny Kennedy was a Canadian, was like a mountain climber, a mountie. And he turned into an amateur copywriter, but he was very, very good. And he went to America, and he tracked down Albert Lasker, and he said to him, he went to the hotel where he was staying, and he wrote a note, and this note became very, very famous in the industry of copywriting. He wrote this note, just like this, with these exact words. Dear Mr. Lasker, let me read it out to you. I'm in the saloon downstairs. I can tell you what advertising is. I know that you do not know. It would mean much to me to have you know, and it would mean much to you. If you wish to know what advertising is, send the word yes down by the bellboy. Okay? Now that note actually went to Robert Lasker's boss, because Robert Lasker was 2IC, and his boss said, look at the nerve of this guy, and he was about to throw it away, but Albert Lasker said, no, we might learn something off this guy. So Albert Lasker went down and met him, and that was the birth of modern advertising, that meeting. Because what happened is, Johnny Kennedy said to Albert Lasker, he said, look, I know you're very good at what you do, and you're very, very respected in your field, and you're a great businessman, and I know you've been searching for the definition of what is good advertising, and I know you do not know. So before I tell you, let me test you, what do you think is good advertising? And Mr. Lasker said, being a journalist background, he said, well, I think advertising is news about a product. And Kennedy said, no, news is technique. It's technique of presentation. Advertising is salesmanship in print. Those three words, salesmanship in print, form the birth of modern advertising in May 1904. Okay, and that definition has never really been improved. Now, some decades later, Claude Hopkins, who's the all-time king of copywriting, Claude Hopkins, is considered the best of the best ever. He just changed it slightly because the medium's changed. He changed it a little bit to, instead of salesmanship in print, he changed it to multiplied salesmanship, because we have radio, we have TV today. That didn't exist back then, internet and YouTube, so we have all these different mediums today. But you can apply the principle of copywriting to all these mediums, and I actually do that. So if you can think of advertising as multiplied salesmanship, it's a very, very good definition. And there's many, many advertising agencies today, like 110 years later, that still they don't really know that definition. They make ads for their clients, and if the ad is entertaining, people laugh at it. They think it's a good ad. But we as network marketers, we're not here to entertain people. We're not here to get a laugh from the ads that we create. We're here to get a response. We're here to make a sale. We're here to get a sign up. We're here to create a preferred customer. Is that right?
Yep.
So we should think of ourselves as direct response marketers. So there's two types of marketing basically. There's, you can go for the branding, which takes a long, long time and millions of dollars, or you can just take a shortcut and just go for direct response. And that's what I do, direct response advertising. So I'll make an ad, and my ad is someone's going to contact me, asking, like that email, okay, with the purpose of getting a response. And a single good ad in one day can be exposed to 100 people, or 1,000 people, or 1,000,000 people. So there's just tremendous leverage if you know how to do this right. And many of you think you might know all this so far, and this is, it makes sense, it's kind of all common sense, I understand all this, but perhaps you don't actually know as much as you think you do, because the definition of advertising hasn't really changed in over 100 years, but the market has changed, and people have changed, haven't they? And people's attention span's changed. And there's a new enemy in advertising, and that enemy wasn't around 100 years ago, it wasn't even around 40 years ago. Anyone think what that enemy of advertising is today?
Saturation.
Yeah, the word is clutter. The one word enemy for advertising today is clutter. Each one of you are bombarded with about 3,000 ads per day. And you're probably thinking, I don't see 3,000 ads per day. But you do. You're acting like you're consumers. You're acting like consumers. You're deleting the emails that look like ads. You're deleting them very quickly. And when you look at a magazine or a newspaper, you're sort of skipping over the ads and just reading the bits that you want. And when you're watching a movie on the TV, you're either going to the toilet or you're making a snack or you're on Facebook. Is that right? Yeah. So you're just ignoring them. So you have to understand that. You have to sort of be aware of that. That's why I said the Zen Master used to say you have to look at the target before you can hit it. So you have to understand the reality. Okay? So I'm going to make this really, really simple today. Really simple. There's two parts to a good ad. There's two parts to, so ad is multiplied salesmanship. There's two parts to salesmanship. I'm going to make it really, really simple. There's opening the sale, and then there's closing the sale. How simple is that? Now, if you can get good at both of those parts, if you can get really good at opening the sale, and if you can get really good at closing the sale, prospecting will never ever become an issue for you ever again. Just like it's not for me. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a really nice story that's very, very dear to my heart right now. One of my favourite stories, and I'm sure I've told a few of you, but I've never told it publicly. It's the Great Fisherman story. Has anyone heard the Great Fisherman story? Okay, it's a true story. There's Long Island. Have you ever heard of Long Island out in America? Long Island, there's a peninsula on Long Island, it's called Montauk Point. And Montauk Point is one of the great fishing centres of the world. Many of the world records in fishing that are broken there by captains who sail in those waters, because that particular body of water is just really full of life with fish. Captain Frank Mundus. Captain Frank Mundus was the captain who used to go out and, as a hobby, he used to fish great white sharks. And they made the movie Jaws after this captain, right? And there's a lot of great captains. Captain Linda, I think Greenshaw was her name. She was the captain that was in The Perfect Storm, the female captain. And all these great captains, many of them hold world records. They all hold one man in awe. They all like a sort of a demigod of fishing. That's Captain John Reid. Captain John Reid is a commercial fisherman, very, very different to the other commercial fishermen. Being a commercial fisherman, you're allowed to catch 100 pounds of bass a day and 100 pounds of flounder and 100 pounds. So you have a limit of how much you can catch per day. And he, for decades, every day goes out and comes back with his limit every single day for decades. And he doesn't do it like the other fishermen. He doesn't use big crews of 5 or 6 people. He doesn't use nets. He doesn't use trawlers. He goes out in his little motorboat, relatively small boat, with a rod and a reel. And he catches hundreds of pounds of fish per day. And to put this into perspective, there's a big fishing ship called the Viking Star. And the Viking Star is a party fishing boat where you go and you pay, and all the fishermen stand around the edge and they fish. He, pretty much every single time, And this Viking star holds about 50 fishermen. Pretty much every time they go out together, one man, John Reid, outfishes all 50 at the same time. In the same body of water, at the same time. And when he retired, the local newspaper interviewed him, and he said something that's profound to us as marketers. This is really important, okay? That's why I'm talking about fishing. And they said, Captain John, how do you do this? How do you go out every single day and come out with your limit? No one else has ever been able to do this. What's your secret? And he sort of scratched his head. He's a bit of a humble guy, and he was thinking to himself, I've been fishing ever since I was a kid, and it just comes naturally to me. But this is what he said. He said, when most people go out to fish, they think like fishermen. When I go out to fish, I think like a fish.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got goosebumps. So what he does is he studies the life cycles of fish. He studies the ocean, the environment the fish swim in. He studies the seasons. He studies the currents. He studies the temperature of the water. He's a student. Like, he's virtually what's it called? Ocean, I don't know what they call him. An ocean expert, right? He knows everything there is to know about the fish that he catches and the environment they live in and the timing and the seasons and what they eat. He knows everything. So when he goes out, he knows where they're going to be and what they're going to eat. And it's very easy for him because he puts in the extra effort. So we as marketers, how often do we think like a marketer instead of thinking like a prospect? Yeah. So Captain John Reid said, when people go out to fish, they go and buy the fancy lures, and they buy the fancy boats, and they buy the fancy machinery, and the fancy SUVs to pull the fancy boats, and all that stuff's designed to catch fishermen. It has very little to do with catching fish. Okay? So this is a very, very good example as us. How often do we go out and we're thinking, as you sign up people, we want to get this sign up. We're not in the other person's shoes. So that's what we have to do. Does that make sense? Is that a valuable story?
Yeah.
One of my favourite stories. So, Plato. I like philosophy. Philosophy means friend of wisdom. Plato said, persuasion is the most rewarding activity in a free society.
Wow.
So if you can learn how to persuade people, all your dreams can come true. You can achieve anything you want if you learn the art of persuasion through copywriting. So think of this new obstacle, clutter. We have to learn how to defeat this because that's the ocean that our prospects are swimming in, an ocean of clutter every day. So we have to learn how to defeat it. So, where am I up to? So here's the thing. So who's ever created an ad? Who's ever written an ad for your sign-up? That's an ad. Yeah. So as we're carefully crafting our ads and we're reading over them and we're proofreading them and we're thinking about our headlines and we put a lot of thought into them and we sleep on them and we get other people to read them and we place our ads. Sorry. So I've got some dust. Breathing some dust. It's like we're playing a game of catch with our prospects, with our ads. Here's the problem, our prospects are not playing catch, they're playing dodgeball. Okay, so we have to learn how to defeat this. So this comes under opening the sale. If we learn how to open the sale, we're going to learn how to get around the clutter. And there's a 5-word master secret to achieving breakthrough results in your ads. And it addresses the first part. It addresses opening the sale. A 5-word master secret. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Here it is. A 5-word master secret to getting breakthrough results in your advertising. To make your advertising look valuable. Okay? That's a golden, just highlight that. So your number one rule is to make your ads not look like ads. Does that make sense?
Not that you now.
So don't make it look like an ad. Yeah. So make it look too valuable for people to throw away. Provide useful advice and quality information in your ads. Let me give you a few examples.
What's the second one? What you said,
Don't make your ad look like an ad. Okay? Make it look valuable and useful. I'll give you a few examples, and I didn't have time to prepare a a PowerPoint, but you'll understand, it doesn't matter. So Guinness wrote an ad a few years back. It was a breakthrough blockbuster success for Guinness. The Guinness Guide to Oysters. And all they did is they recommended all these different oysters, and they just sort of showed you how Guinness goes with these oysters. It was just like a real recommendation, like an article more than an advertisement. That did really well for Guinness. How about, there was an ad, 6,500 word ad in the New York Times a few years ago, and it poured in 10,000 responses. How would you like to place one ad and have 10,000 responses? Okay. This is the title. What everyone should know about stocks and bonds. And it gave really good advice. So whoever says long copy doesn't sell, they don't know about copywriting. When you're providing valuable, useful advice to people, they'll read it. Okay? A few decades ago, there was the soap wars. All these, I don't know if you remember them on TV and in the newspapers, and the soap wars, all these soaps, different soaps and different washing detergents, all sort of competing for each other. In America, one company did the advertising right and just demolished the competition with one ad. And what that ad was is how to get stains out. So in their ad, they just described every type of stain: a grease stain, a blood stain, a this stain, a that stain, a dirt stain, and they just described how to get it out with Rinso soap. And that ad dominated the competition. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Who was it?
Rinso soap.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
World's most effective hiccup cure. So make your ads look like editorials, or articles, or recommendations, or comparisons.
So can you repeat those
Yeah.
words again?
An editorial, or an article, or recommendation, or a comparison. They're very good too. Comparisons work really, really well. Okay? Or how about if you, how about to people that you know, how about writing them a really good letter and putting it in an envelope and sending it to them? Okay? A personal letter with an envelope and a stamp. Okay, so you must give value, you must give service, tips, secrets, which people want to keep. They want to actually cut that out and keep it. So make it look so valuable that it's going to be too good to throw away. It's the only way to beat clutter. Okay? Now, if you want to go deeper into this skill, now this is opening the sale. How to sort of get past the clutter. Okay? If you want to learn more about this, there's a book that I really recommend. I'll write it for you because it's a bit weird, the title. Gary Halbert is responsible for perhaps billions of dollars in sales in direct ads. Probably billions. He went to jail at one stage for doing, I don't know what he went to jail. And when he was in jail, he wrote a set of letters to his son, telling his son how he created his wealth. It's a really good read, and it will give you a very good insight on how to make your advertising look valuable. He did things that no one else has ever done, and he's had success that very few people have ever had. He'll actually tell you step by step. So boron was actually B, yeah.
Bacon letters?
The boron letters.
Okay.
What does it look like?
It's like an S.
Does it? The boron, not bacon. The boron. That's actually a jail. Boron jail. The boron letters by Gary Halbert. I really recommend you read that book. Okay. So, to open the sale, make your advertising look valuable. Okay. So that's actually the end of part one. So let me do some testing. So just scream it out. What is advertising? Excellent. Well done, Mitch. What are the two parts of salesmanship? Yeah. And what's the best way to open the sale?
Make it look valuable.
Add value.
Make it look valuable. Who thinks, and we're just getting started, who thinks already they've received a lot of value?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, thanks. Now we're going to go into more advanced stuff. Do you need a 1 minute break?
No.
You're going to have a stretch? You want to just stand and have a stretch?
Yeah.
Touch your toes.
Nice look.